All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about big news, maybe. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis looks like they are getting close to having a deal for them to fight in December. At least that's what it sounds like through their Twitter. But Roy Jones Jr. gives his opinion of the fight, and it, in my opinion, was quite shocking because it doesn't sound like anything like what a lot of other people are saying. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division, talking about one of the biggest fights that can be made in boxing that has a chance of being made. Certainly hope that we're not getting pulled in to, some internet hype, but it appears that Gervonta Tank Davis, who was the WBA regular champion at 135 pounds and one of the biggest names in boxing, is still negotiating and very well may fight Ryan Garcia of Golden Boy Promotions, who is one of the maybe the biggest prospect in boxing. Let me do a quick look. Yeah, as far as selling tickets and his name and all of that, may very well be the biggest prospect in boxing. Could be making a fight that they've been talking about making for several years. And now Roy Jones Jr., and this is going to be a little bit of the subject that I talk about in this video. Roy Jones Jr. gives his take on the fight. And man, Roy Jones Jr. is just funny to me, man. Like, I know he really, really knows his boxing, but it's just amazing how sometimes just really see things differently than or let me put it this way. He sees things differently than other people. But before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your ongoing support. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Your participation in the live streams that we do every day and in the videos in the comment section, we really appreciate it. And I think you'll have a really good time because we have a lot of really good boxing fans on this forum. So let's get into this. Roy Jones Jr. gave his opinion about this fight and called it a 50-50 fight and said that, Ryan Garcia actually has the ability to knock out and really hurt Gervonta Davis because he believes that Ryan Garcia has faster hands and has more explosive power than Gervonta Davis does. And so, and then he also kind of discounted the fact that Gervonta Davis has had more rounds and a little bit and more experience than Ryan, but really thinks very, very highly of Ryan Garcia as a fighter relative to Gervonta Davis. And that is not something that I typically hear, man. What I typically hear is that Ryan Garcia is more likely going to get knocked out if he fights Gervonta Davis. Now, there are some things that he said. Well, first of all, I always respect Roy Jones' opinion, without a doubt. Like I respect the opinions of a lot of professional fighters. When you're a Hall of Fame fighter or you're a trainer in the sport, you see things that, regular boxing fans may not appreciate. But that doesn't mean that you're necessarily right, because honestly, boxers are wrong as much as anybody else is. But when you look at certain aspects and you listen to what they see, I think it's always valuable because you can always learn something. So like in this particular instance there, he's talking about the explosiveness of Ryan Garcia, right? And saying, look, man, Ryan Garcia is longer than Gervonta, and he has very, very good speed and he has explosive power. More so, he said, now Gervonta Davis has good speed, but he thinks Ryan Garcia is faster than Gervonta. So the combination of Ryan being longer, Ryan Garcia being faster, Ryan Garcia being more explosive in his punches, that is what makes him believe that this is an even money fight with Gervonta. Now, he said that he does not have a prediction for the fight, so he's not picking Ryan Garcia to beat Gervonta Davis. All he's saying is that he sees it as Ryan Garcia having a legitimate chance to make that fight. And as far as what weight the fight's going to be in, it appears that Ryan Garcia agreed to fight at 135 and not 140 pounds, where Ryan Garcia would want to fight, because that'd be a weight class that Ryan would probably be more comfortable in, because, he doesn't have to squeeze down. He really doesn't have to squeeze down in weight to make 135, where Gervonta Davis, if he was squeezing down, could still probably make 130. And so he would probably just be a lot more comfortable, at 135 pounds. But there are real advantages for Ryan, the length of Ryan, the height of Ryan. But the thing for me is, that number one, I don't know really if the left hook, which I personally think that Ryan Garcia is, he's left hook heavy, right? Like that's really what he's looking to do. Now, if Gervonta Davis can walk him down, get on the inside of Ryan, then it's just going to be a lot of problems. It's going to be a lot of problems for Ryan if he gets inside. However, if Ryan can stay on the outside and just jab and keep Gervonta off of him and away from him, he may be able to pick up some rounds, man. But the thing that I don't necessarily like for Ryan is that Ryan's chin, he still punches and still keeps his head right up in the air. And also the foot speed, the foot quickness of Gervonta Davis. I think Gervonta Davis is going to be able to stay out of harm's way of Ryan Garcia whenever he really pretty much chooses to, because Ryan Garcia is somebody that is he has very fast hands and explosive punches. That's no doubt about it. But he has slow feet, and he's not somebody. And when I say slow feet, I don't mean like what people accuse Errol Spence Jr. of having. I mean legitimately slow feet, where he is plodding forward very stiffly and does not look like at times he's very good at cutting off the ring at all. He's somebody that likes to fight from long range, mid range, light range, long range, but is still plodding forward and not necessarily very good at cutting out the ring. So I think Gervonta is going to be able to take a lot of angles on him. He's going to be able to, move move and get around that ring as he wants to. Or he could definitely do what he did against several of the last guys that he fights when he fights taller guys, which is just, slip shots, come on the inside and look to really do some damage to Ryan on the inside. But at the end of the day, the big question is whether or not this fight is really going to happen or not. And from what I can see, I'm not 100% convinced. I hear what they're saying on Twitter and saw the whole exchange, understand what that Tank said, okay, yeah, you agreed to all the terms, and Ryan's like this, that, and the other, and they're going back. But until they get that fight past Oscar De La Hoya and his demand for everything to be 50-50 as far as what's going on with DAZN and Showtime, I'm still going to be hesitant to believe that they're going to pull the trigger on that fight. Even though I will say, though, that if that fight does take place, it's definitely one of the biggest fights in boxing. I would definitely be excited to see it. I am a fan of Gervonta Davis. I'm also a fan of Ryan Garcia. I'm not one of these guys that thinks Ryan Garcia is not a good fighter. I just think Ryan Garcia is still kind of green, and I think Joe Goosen thinks that as well. So I'm just not 100% confident that they're going to go pull the trigger and do that. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.